Question 34, I'm going to film in a longer form because I'm probably going to go over the 5 minutes. And I usually have a timer set for 5 minutes, but I'm just going to take the timer off because I think I might go over on this one because 34 is, do you believe in ghosts? Um, I believe in an afterlife. I believe that we are not just gone and then we're just disintegrating. I don't believe that. I believe that our spirit lives on, whether we get a different body for it or not later on, or what we live in. I've had a lot of thoughts over the years. There used to be a show called is it called Crossing Over? I can't remember now, but there was a show on in the maybe the 90s where a woman died at her daughter's wedding and she was in her mother of the bride dress and she had to be in that dress for all of eternity. And I've thought about that before. Like, would you like, I don't want to die in this. This is not gonna age well. But like, I don't know. I'd want to be in like a simple black dress or something comfortable, I think. If I had to stay in my outfit forever. But my brain's very active. I've thought of a lot of things over the years. Um, but I do believe in ghosts on some level because I've had some weird ghost type experiences. I do own a cemetery, which I don't know how many of you know that, but I own a cemetery with 10 graves in it, and they are all in, some of them are from the late, they're all mostly early 1800s. There is one, I believe, late 1700s. The house that I own had two families. So my family and the family before. The family before had the small cemetery out back where they were all buried. It was their cemetery. There's a lot of little kids there because of influenza. And so in our house, there's at least those 10 deaths, and then deaths that I know of in my own family, several more because they would all die there. So, like my dad's grandparents, um, my grandfather, and some other people in the family. There was a soldier from the Civil War who died years after he came home. Like this was a few years after he came home, but he died from injuries that he just never got over. Was never quite the same again after fighting in the war. And his uniform was actually made in on a sewing table that my parents have at their house. This really nice antique sewing table. And so when I was living there, my daughter was young, and we had moved in probably, let's say, like 5 or 6 years before that. I mean, it was my grandmother's house, so um, I had been in it my whole life, but I had lived there with my husband and my daughter. We moved in, I think, 3 years before my daughter was born. And she came upstairs one day and said that she had seen a soldier outside my room in the hallway, like at the landing at the top of the stairs. She'd seen a soldier, and we had her draw the soldier and stuff. And it kind of had that like Civil War vibe. Like it was a weird, like old fashioned kind of uniform. And I mean, her art skills were not where they are now because she was like six, 5, 6. Um, but and then like later, like looking at pictures and stuff, and she was like, "Yeah, that looks like the guy that I saw." Not a picture of the guy that it actually was, but like soldiers from that time period. Um, he kind of looked like that, she would say. Um, and we showed her like a bunch of different errors, like to see if there was one particular one that she gravitated toward, like without telling her which one was which. And it was definitely Civil War. Anyway, so that was weird. And then I've had instances where I've heard the door handle, leave those like the latches that lift into the little, I don't know what they're called. I guess a latch, but like that was instead of doorknobs. And so you would hear it jiggle sometimes. Um, I've heard my name, which is interesting because my grandfather died in that house. We were very close, but I had some periods of time when I was in a lot of despair at the end of my marriage and just really sad and depressed and just sobbing and just really upset. And I would fall asleep and I would wake up and I would either feel a hand on my shoulder or I would hear my name. And I always just believed it was him. I don't know who it was, but that's what I always used to think. It gave me comfort anyway. Um, but yeah, I've had instances where I was vacuuming and I heard mama very clearly, and I shut the vacuum cleaner off, turned around, my daughters were not anywhere near me. They were, way off in another part of the house, all cuddled up under a blanket, dogs on top of them and just piled up watching a movie or whatever. Couldn't have been them. They had no way of getting back there that quickly. Um, so yeah, I believe in ghosts and I own a cemetery and a haunted house. So, um, I have a lot more to say about the whole ghost thing, and I'll probably do a future video on it because I believed in the ghosts. The kids believed in the ghosts. My husband, ex-husband, believed in the ghosts, and he used to even say that like there were certain months of the year that we would have more activity, and those corresponded with dates in the cemetery of when certain people had passed and birthdays of certain people and things like that. So it was all like around the same time. And so that was interesting. And then during my divorce, it's actually all through my divorce papers, about the house and the hauntings. And um, he actually um, had some stuff in one of the depositions about me believing that I somehow belonged to the house or an unhealthy attachment to the house. There was some other things in there about me thinking that I could contact the spirits to take away peace from him or to give him restless nights or whatever. To which my lawyer was like, "Can you?" And I was like, "No." And she was like, "That'd be really cool." So no one was taking it very seriously, but it is all through my divorce papers. They would make for excellent reading, but I'm not supposed to talk about them. So anyway, oh, my life is weird. Comment below if you believe in ghosts. This was a very long video, and I'm very curious, and I want to hear your stories. And let me know. Talk to you later. Love you guys.